Join us in this episode where we repot a azalea for the very first time. Hey everybody, this is a disclaimer. I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't really do azaleas, but we're gonna try it. So I'm gonna repot this azalea. I have azalea for about 3 years. This is again from Tom Nuccio and John Nuccio. This is called Dwarf Kuzan. It's really compact. What I've noticed is it does well in our area. Relatively inexpensive. I think this was like $5. And to get him to propagate these things are amazing. They make these really tiny flowers. They almost make a really good accent plant. And that's where I'm kind of chasing it to become, or it could be a really small shohin. It depends on what you want to look at. So I've grown this for about 2 years now and just kind of following its growth habits. It likes to be moist, but not wet. And I've noticed that I have overwatered it during the summertime and it just loses everything. I just killed the whole thing pretty badly. So that's something I learned. And then repotting, like this guy is in pure peat moss, or peat, excuse me, not peat moss, but pure peat. And that's how Tom and the Nuccio brothers, that's how they grow it. And then after talking, what they do, they don't even like remove any of the soil. They actually just up pot it. They put more peat in the next pot and they up pot to the next size. Here's that trunk. You look at that trunk there. It's pretty fat trunk. In Japan, what they'll do is they'll grow these trees out until they get the trunk size they want the movement they got, and then they start developing its branch structures. What I found out is true that every single point where the leaves here come out, that's where a possible node could be. So literally in this whole trunk, you can cut it down to the nub and it will actually branch back out from the nub. So that's something very enticing. What today we're gonna do is we're gonna repot it. I'm gonna really repot it. I have a second one of these and I'm gonna repot it a little later. And I'm gonna remove the soil and put it in Kanuma. So that's something we're gonna do later today. So join us. Enough talking, let me get working here, okay? This is a small quart container. Okay, so you take that root ball. That's a nice little trunk. I mean, look at that trunk, it's very cute. Okay. And then this is in pure peat. Azalea is like, what is it? Acidic soil. So you don't use our classic bonsai mix, which is like 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, akadama, pumice, and scoria. You use pure Kanuma. I have some Kanuma over here in the saddle. And so you can spend just, and the reason why people don't really like bare root azaleas is because they have such fine root. You can tell already, you can look how fine that root is. You can't really pick it all out. So the best you could do is to get most of this out. Okay, I'm gonna probably have to cut most of this out eventually. Okay, you can see that it's really fine root, and you're gonna be tearing most of these guys out. So there's really 2 times a year you can actually repot azaleas. One time, of course, is right now, winter time, before it flowers. And the second time you can do it is after it flowers and you remove all this foliage in spring. I don't have the luxury to do this in spring, so I'm gonna do it now. And if you don't have azaleas, of course, if you go to your local Home Depot or big box store or whatever, you can probably pick up an azalea and do the same thing. And my suggestion is to, this is what I had heard from azaleas experts, and Herb, Luis, in here in California, is go and try it. I mean, don't buy a $500, $1,000 azalea to experiment with. Go to like Nuccio's big box store, go find azalea, go try it, and if it survives, then upgrade. I thought that was like the greatest advice ever, because you're using a very small investment, a couple of dollars here and there, to learn if this tree will grow well in your area. I'm going to be very brutal because, you're not going to learn if you're not very brutal. Again, this is just an experiment. I don't know what's going to happen. This is my first repot of azaleas. And if it works well, I'll do that to the second one. If it doesn't, I might have to repot it in peat. That was an ugly root. This is a great time to, cut roots off like that. It's an ugly root. Okay, I'm gonna just cut it off. It does no purpose on it. I might keep that root there. Again, you're gonna have multiple root potting tools, and of course, a bamboo skewer. I like a bamboo skewer just because I don't bruise as much of those root structures as possible. Again, I'm gonna try to get as much as I can. There we go so far. Okay, I just hosed most of that off. And what I'm gonna do now is any crossing roots, any really long roots, and I was really rough with it, so if I see some tears, I'll make sure they're kind of go in the direction I want them to go. I think that might be my front right there. That's a nice Nabari. That could be my main trunk right there. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm just gonna see if it survives. So let me set up my pot, get some Kanuma. Let me clean the stage a little bit, and then I'll get back. All right, so I got my tree all prepped, my pot all prepped. Here's Kanuma. Kanuma, that's I never used Kanuma before. I bought a big bag of it just to try it out. I think it was like $23 for a big bag, but it's lighter than, it kind of feels like pumice, very light. Much more yellow. You can see it's a much more canary yellow than Akadama. Akadama's more that brown. It has these are used for like acidic loving plants. And yeah, so I'm using it. I'm just gonna put some in the bottom, how we normally repot. I'm gonna tie it down, okay, into the pot. I'll come back in a minute. Okay, same idea. You're gonna try to get the Kanuma, just like we do Akadama, as far as we can get inside. Okay. I think that's it. I may go hose it down. I'll bring it back in. So there we are. So I watered it. I let it soak through until it was clear as normal. I'm gonna leave it in a semi-protected area for the next 2 weeks. I might actually put a little bit of sphagnum moss to cover the top. I noticed that the Kanuma is much lighter and it kind of floats a little bit when you overwater it. But I noticed that immediately after repotting, it flushes really through. So most likely this year, I'm gonna have to water this probably 2 or 3 times in a day just because it drains so fast. I didn't know Kanuma drains so fast before. I never used Kanuma before. First time repotting on Azalea. I'm gonna figure this out. But I'm gonna document this whole trip with you guys. So again, if you guys like and subscribe this type of content, please do. It does support this channel. I really enjoy doing this stuff. So again, thank you so much. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.